Mike Taylor Live is presented by Texas Cheer Liquor. And now, live from San Antonio, Mike Taylor.
Yes. Well, I'm home. Not as jet-lagged as I have been in the past after a trip to the hellscape this last few days. Got in yesterday and got 2 naps in and taken a couple of showers, and it's always harder to come home than it is to go there because the time difference screws your body up. But here we are, rested mostly and ready to get back into the groove of kicking ass every day. Although, as you can tell, I mailed in and I did not go to the major studios. Today, I emanate from K-Mike Studios, somewhere in the greater San Antonio, Texas area, with DJ LG left to fend for himself at KLG Studios, but we'll make this work anyway, and here we go. It is Wednesday, so it's only a 2-day work week. Sorry, it's the holidays, man. I was out of town seeing my Twinkies, and we're back. Good to be with you boys. Obviously, Christmas is Monday, so unless that LG gets mad and just like demands we work Christmas, we haven't talked about this. I'm assuming we're not working Monday, right, LG? No Monday working.
Wait a minute. Okay. Are the Cowboys playing Christmas? They play Christmas Eve, right?
Yeah, Sunday. They play Sunday.
All right.
But then they have a goofy Saturday game after that because college is over.
We are going live for Overreact on Christmas Eve, are we not?
Yeah, we're working Christmas Eve. Yeah, that's a whole different show, bro, cheese.
Okay.
That's a whole different show.
I'm just making sure because
no one told me.
And that thing's paid for, bro. Now, okay, I will tell you this. If you have plans, like, with your brother or your mom or whatever, maybe those 3 whores you drug out of that bar last week are coming back over. Whatever it is you got planned, if you can't help me run the Cowboys show Sunday, you don't have to. You're not obligated.
Yeah.
Although Orlando really likes it when you do because it looks a lot better, just saying. No pressure.
We'll see.
Okay. I'm doing a Cowboys postgame show Sunday evening after the big Miami game. With or without LG, with or without the bells and whistles. I'll just have to use my phone if we don't have Lawrence's services. Why don't you just let me know how you want to handle Sunday? All right? All right. Very good. Okay. So here we are,
10-4,
man.
apricot.
It is Wednesday, so we're going to do today, tomorrow. I will do Cowboys Overreact presented by the law office of Orlando Kell, which brings this show today. He brings people I want to punch. And then we're out of here Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then I just might quit. No, we're not going to quit because we still have our fine partners and Thunderdome, man. I love Thunderdome very much. And today is one of those days where we ask you to help participate in the show. This is one of those days. Once a week, I ask you, well, I guess it's kind of twice. I ask you to help provide content for the show. But I would never ask you to provide content for my show, but we make you a part of it. You know, we want to give you a voice. And alas, it is People I Want to Punch, presented by the law office of Orlando Kell. They bring us People I Want to Punch each and every Wednesday. We'll see if LG has anybody to punch. He's been in a real good mood lately because of them 3 whores he drug out of that bar the other day. But maybe you have a punch, Thunderdome. Jump in here with a chat, man. We have an empty chat box right now. And I know it's a weird time. Some people are already off work. Some of y'all don't care. The holidays, we all get a little loosey-goosey. So we'll see who's in here. So jump your ass in there into that chat box and tell me who you want to punch. You can comment on anything you want, but if you have a punch today, we want to know who it is and why. All right? All right. My punch today. So I had to fly overnight. Not last night. I lose track. It's been so weird. So I had a crazy, that's part of the reason my biorhythms are so messed up. My flight back home. So I flew out of Honolulu Monday night at 10:55 p.m. local time, 10:55 takeoff time. And it was so weird. Trying to sleep overnight on an airplane because I never really felt like I was asleep, but somehow the time passed and it was anyway. So here's who I want to punch. I want to punch the guy that was sitting behind me who would not stop farting. It was every 20 minutes. Every 20 effing minutes, dude. It was to the point where I almost like turned around and said something. I guess he had fallen asleep. It was a red eye across the Pacific Ocean. Leg one of the flight was a 4.5-hour flight from Honolulu to Los Angeles. And then I had 4 hours of layover in LA and then connected and then flew straight home from LA. But the guy on the plane sitting next, I don't know his name. I can't even tell you what he looks like. I'm not even sure if it was a guy now that I think about it, but there was a person behind me who kept busting ass. And it wasn't even the kind that you hear. It was it was SBDs every 20 minutes, those silent but deadlies. And sometimes it's those silent but deadlies that stink worse than the ones you actually
Well, then
hear.
how do you know it was that person?
It had to have been because I had a window seat, right? So I was kind of leaned over like this on the window trying to sleep. And it was right into my left nostril. It had to have been coming from the person directly behind me. I only smelled it in my left nostril. My right nostril slept fine. My left nostril didn't get a wink of sleep. So I'm assuming
it didn't like waft up from somewhere else, you know?
It had to have been the person. And of course, I'm cheap, so I don't get good seats. I sit back there with the chickens and all the Mexicans, you know. So it's probably the dude, because so that everyone's all wedged in. I think it's the dude right behind me. He just kept, and it was every 20 minutes. It smelled like rotten eggs and octopus that had been left out for 6 days to rot in the sun. It was so bad, dude. It was
sushimi.
A weird flight. If it weren't for that, I probably would have been more rested. But he kept busting ass, and it's like, and I bust ass too a lot in my sleep. Hey, baby, do I fart a lot in my sleep? Yeah. See, it sucks because there's nothing I can do about it. Just once you fall asleep, you have no control over that. So it sucks for the person. And that's one of the reasons why I have trouble sleeping on airplanes too, because I'm self-conscious about busting
Are you
ass.
sure it wasn't yourself? And you were just kind of waking, you thought you were waking up from the smell, but you were just waking up from your farting. And then you smelled it.
You know what? I'm not sure it wasn't me. Son of a bitch.
punch you.
It might have been me, actually. Holy shit. Maybe it was me waking me up. Whoa. That's why because I was leaned over this way. It was only getting the left side of my face. Maybe it was me, dude. What did I have for dinner that night? Because it was stinky. Like rotten egg stinky. What did I have for dinner? I was airport food, probably. I don't even remember. It's been 2 days, but I'm so out of it and jet lagged, I can't even remember what the hell it was I had. Son of a bitch.
Were you in the window seat?
Yeah. Head all up against the window. They got those little flaps on the seats, for your little your head. But I was like window, ear flap, just kind of wedged. Yeah, dude, hell, it might have been me. Hell, it sucks. And I don't like flying overnight, but that's the best way to do it when you come back from there. It's not that you don't get decent sleep. It's just that your body catches up when you're literally going back in time.
Here's where one of those masks with the charcoal versions of those medical masks, those come in handy on the plane.
Okay. See,
they filter out the smell.
That's why I'm bringing this up with you, because you've traveled a lot. Well, I've traveled a lot the last couple of years always to the hellscape.
Flying's the worst part. I mean, of all travel.
Sure, of course. Yeah, man. Yeah, it sucks.
Unless you got the lay flat. If you got the lay flat seat, you're good. But if you're in back there with the chickens and whatnot.
Oh, man, I ain't never had no fucking lay flat. Like, what the fuck you talking about? I'm back there with the chickens and the mates condos, man. I'm back there with my people. I'm shit. And I fly a lot. If Nina goes, I'm more conscious about the tickets and when we fly. But it's just me. I get the cheapest one. I got a Priceline account. And I've had it for, not that I love Priceline.
Yeah,
I know you hate Priceline. I've just had it for years.
Try not to use if you can avoid it, never use a third party to book your stuff.
It's cheaper homes, but then of course you get those 6 connections and all that shit, and it was just a rough go. So punch whoever kept farting. It might have been me, actually, now that I think about it, on the airplane. Highly unfortunate. Going to Hawaii, you literally go back in time because they're 4 hours behind us. Sometimes they're 5 hours behind us, depending, because they don't change their clocks. Right now they're only 4, but then coming home, that's always the worst, because you come home and it's later in the day. You lose 4 hours of your life, and it's weird, and it messes up your biorhythms. And so I'm good. I'm happy to be home, but bear with me. I've got material. I'm just struggling today here on People I Want to Punch Wednesday, presented by the Law Office of Orlando Kell. LG's been in a great mood lately. Do you have anyone who's...
I'm going to punch myself.
Oh, wow. It's a lot of self-loathing today here before Christmas.
For not doing further research on the movie I went and saw the other day. Because I was not...
the Barbie movie?
Nah, I went and saw Napoleon.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sucks?
Yeah, I thought it wasn't that great, but I didn't know what to. I should have done further research. It's a romance. It's a love story. It's not a. I was expecting like Gladiator or something like that, because it's Ridley Scott or Ridley Scott or whatever.
Ridley, is it Guinevere? Yeah. Who was he banging?
Josephine.
Josephine. Okay, cool. I get my French maidens mixed up.
So the movie is no spoilers here, but it's based off of the love letters that he wrote to her while he was at battle. And I thought it was going to be more about like strategy and whatnot, and like, the battles, not the love.
Right.
And anyway,
sucks.
I'm not going to go into any details about it because it's still a
that
new
sucks
movie.
Ass. Well, that's unfortunate.
and I had free tickets from, when you recall, when Oppenheimer, when the speakers blew out. Yep. So I cashed in on the free tickets, and I was going to choose the Scorsese movie, Killers of the Flower Moon, or Napoleon, and I went with Napoleon. And
damn,
should have probably got the other one, but that other one is 3.5 hours. The Scorsese movie.
Yeah, I can't do that.
And I was like, I don't know about that. This one, Napoleon's 2.5, so it's like, all right.
Well, so punch Ridley Scott and yourself, and I'm punching the mystery farter in myself.
I would say if you're going with a chick or something, it's like a chick flick. So, that you don't expect that a movie about Napoleon to be a chick flick.
And not Joaquin Phoenix either. So it's super, super chicky. It ain't like fucking
No, it's just
The
it's a
Notebook,
romance.
right?
It's I don't want to spoil any of it, but it's it's
Uh-huh.
more of a romantic movie than it is like an action packed like
Uh,
gladiator style
well,
movie.
the thing I'm looking forward to seeing, and I think it just came out, is the Von Erichs movie, The Iron Claw, with the
Mm-hmm.
great Zac Efron and the great Jeremy Tyler White. I
Yeah,
always get
yeah.
the name mixed up.
They showed an extended preview of it before Napoleon, and it looked pretty good. There's
Yeah.
there's a biopic also coming out about, it's called One Love Bob Marley, and it
Huh.
looks pretty legit. So
Hell yeah.
be looking for that
We'll get
soon.
stoned and go watch it together as a show
There you
field
go.
trip, maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, you guys, those are good punches. All right, who do y'all want to punch in here today? Thunderdome. I want to punch. I want to punch. Uh, who's ever in charge of football injuries? I know it's a stretch. I woke up yesterday super excited. So let's do a couple, get a couple things off my chest here, and we'll roll through some of the people's punches. Um, and of course, we got the Final Four starting up today too, which is up and running, which we'll get into. I woke up yesterday morning, and the only thing I was looking forward to doing was watching Frank Harris play football one last time. And then we start finding we start finding out as the day goes along. He's been, not only is he hurt, he's been hurt. Frank got hurt. I think in the last regular season game, I think he got dinged. And then, of course, he played in the conference championship game against Tulane. And it turns out he played with a fractured shoulder. Frank Harris, who has had 10 surgeries on his knees, 9 on the same knee, a guy who wasn't even sure if he was going to have 2 legs. No bullshit. Earlier this year, when he had his knee scoped, there was infection, and they weren't sure if he was going to be able to keep his leg. It was so bad. He thought he may not play at all. Went ahead and sucked it up. Played out there this senior year. Played banged up all year. Had a good season. Led him to the conference championship game. Got hurt a couple of times during the season, and then fractures his shoulder 3 weeks ago. And they've been getting that kid from Rusk, that East Texan, the backup, Owen McCown, ready to play in this bowl game. Unbeknownst to anybody, Jeff Traylor called it the best kept secret in San Antonio history. So they figured all week long, and for the last couple of weeks, that Frank was probably not going to be able to go. Frank wanted to go, and even woke up yesterday morning before the Scooter Coffee Frisco Bowl, thinking, okay, maybe if I feel better, maybe I can miracle it out there. But he don't need to be out there with a fractured shoulder. That would have been crazy. But while he's been he's been hoping he could play the last couple of weeks, he was helping the coaching staff get McCown ready to roll. McCown's a good story. And McCown goes out there last night and was horrible in the first couple of series and winds up leading UTSA, ironically, with 2 foundation players in Frank Harris and Rashad Wisdom on the sideline, because Rashad got hurt too last night during the game, and leads them to a win. The first ever bowl victory in UTSA history, ironically, but in some ways fittingly because of the injury history with Frank, comes with Sub-Zero standing there on the sideline as McCown and the defense come back, and they're down 14-0 against a mediocre 500 Marshall team that went 6-6 and got decimated by the transfer portal the last couple of weeks. And they wind up running away from them finally in the fourth quarter after being down 14-0 because McCown was bad. And they win 35-17. So birds up. The program has its first ever bowl win, and hell yeah. And it looked like they were going to get blown out. McCown was like 1 for 6 to start the game with 2 interceptions. One was arguably not his fault, but he could have had a third interception on a bad pass that got knocked down. But he just stayed with it and found his rhythm finally. And that's a damn good story, that Owen McCown. If I call him Luke, it's because he's in that same family. The McCown family, those flying McCowns from East Texas that have produced, 2 NFL quarterbacks. I want to say there's his uncle and his dad both played in the NFL. And he was at Colorado. McCown was when Dion showed up. That infamous "we coming" and his Gucci. So y'all need to jump in the portal right now. Owen McCown was one of the guys that went ahead and jumped into the portal. And UTSA, the portal taketh and the portal giveth. They played without their best guy on defense last night because of the damn portal. But if it weren't for the portal, they wouldn't have had Owen McCown. McCown comes in here this year and winds up passing Eddie Lee Marburger for the backup gig. And at this point, provided they don't all jump into the portal, or the Roadrunners don't go get somebody else out of the portal, at this point anyway, Owen McCown projects to be the starting quarterback next season for the Roadrunners. But again, who the hell knows the way college football changes every week. And then, so McCown finds his rhythm. They get back in the game. They're going back and forth. But then the Roadrunners, they knock out Chad Pennington's kid, the quarterback at Marshall, in the fourth quarter. And that forces Marshall to play their backup. And he throws a shitty interception that UTSA runs almost back. And then they wind up scoring a touchdown off that. And they're able to finally pull away. And they beat Marshall last night. And the funniest, the coolest video last night was the video of Traylor. Here's Traylor getting the iced coffee bath last night. This is new and innovative. I've not seen this one before. Go ahead and run that tape.
They're lucky a flag didn't get called there. Here it is from the Scooter's Coffee. Oh, it was Scooter's Coffee.
Nice.
There it was.
In that giant cup. Love it.
See
That's
that?
a bath we'll take any day.
It comes full circle. Remember? But they're lucky a flag didn't get
It's a giant
called
coffee
there.
cup.
Here it
See
is
that
from
shit?
the Scooter's Coffee. Oh, it was Scooter's Coffee.
Nice.
There it was.
In that giant cup.
Gonna fuck up his headphones. Can iced coffee ruin his headset? LG, you'd know that. Can that ruin a headset?
It might get it all sticky or something, but they should be fine.
He also had sticky butt. Traylor was saying after the game that he'll never forget the sensation of coffee running down his ass crack. So good on them. They get their first bowl win. Frank wanted to go. And again, I woke up yesterday morning all excited. I'm tweeting out to people, soak all this in. Soak in the great Frank Harris as he makes his final start. Never know, and of course, and I stand by this today, and it's just true. It's just the way the world is. We'll probably never see another guy come through the program that stays 7 years at any position. Frank Harris wound up playing 7 years in that program. Shit, you can't even keep these quarterbacks in your program for 7 months anymore. Some of them don't stay 7 weeks, the way everybody transfers in and out. And that's fine. I think something needs to be done to relegate the transferring. But right now, until they do, I got no problem with kids deciding to transfer. But it's just a nature of the beast. So, hasta la vista, Frank Harris, love you hard, and it sucks. So who knows? It sucks to lose him. And like I said, at this point, McCown projects to be the starter, I guess, provided they don't go get somebody else in the portal, or hell, McCown doesn't get into the portal and leave on his own. Eddie Lee Marburger may leave. If he hadn't left already, shit, I can't keep up with it. And this is the kind of thing that guts programs like UTSA. Their best linebacker, the defensive player of the year, he's out of here. I don't know where he's going to go. And everybody has to deal with it, and all these Bama has to deal with it. Texas has to deal with it. Problem is, it doesn't affect Bama and the Texases of the world the way it does others. Oregon's guy, he bails, no problem. We'll just bring in another badass. But Dylan Gabriel's going to go up to Oregon and replace the Oklahoma kid, the kid from the Hellscape. He went to Oregon. Everybody deals with it on every level. The problem is it guts the UTSAs of the world, and the only thing that might help that a little bit in the future is the extended playoffs. Once we go to 12 and they allow, once the conference champion of the AAC is allowed to go into the playoff, maybe that'll prevent some of these other kids from bailing. But we all know why they do it. Some of them leave because maybe they're not playing. Some of them leave because they want a chance to play on a Power 5 school, but we all know what it's about mostly. 99% of the time, it's about money. And the UTSAs of the world just don't have it. They just don't have it. And until we get, we'll get the extended playoff next year, and God knows how it's going to look at this point because the Pac-12's dead. It's just going to be how college football is until we get everybody rounded up in a giant conference of 64 or whatever, and have tiers or start paying guys outright. the schools directly paying salaries to football players. That is around the corner. And honestly, the quicker the better to me. I'm not a huge fan of paying kids to play, but it's absolutely necessary at this point with the way the transfer shit's gone down, and you can't keep up with kids. And again, I have no problem with it, but it's a killer, and it's hard to like. And I don't know about you, Thunderdome, but as a fan, it's hard when you're a fan of something and you don't know who's going to be your players from 1 month to the next. It's hard to fall in love with those kind of kids. Although it's hard to fall in love with your team when you ain't got no idea who the hell's going to be on your team. They should be able to transfer if they want to, but there's got to be some relegation. Chip Kelly was on with that Pat McAfee this weekend. And that's the UCLA coach, former Eagles coach, former Oregon coach. And he was saying it's way time for one giant football league. And it was stupid for like the entire Pac-12 conference, or like so UCLA, he's UCLA, they jumped to the Big Ten. It's dumb for all the programs also to have to go to the Big Ten. It's stupid for like UCLA softball. Now we got to travel to Rutgers and we got to go to Penn State. It's stupid. They should not have to switch conferences just because football did. We need a giant college football league of about 64 schools. And until we get there, it's going to be a little wild ass, a lot wild ass. And so, vaya con Dios to the great Frank Harris. I've had a few dealings with Frank myself in person. He's such a nice guy, such a genteel kid, but he was a killer on that field, an absolute baller on that field. By the way, before we get to Bagtastic Voyage, I saw this morning where Florida State now, they're so pissed off because they didn't get to the playoffs, even though they went undefeated, and they're in a Power 5 conference. They're now looking to bail on the ACC. The ACC is a Power 5 conference. But they're so pissed off because they feel like they got screwed out of a playoff, which I don't think they do. They're looking to get out of the ACC all of a sudden. Just get a football league, a college football league with a commissioner, do it like the NFL, pay the players, have a salary cap, and let's just and let them all do NILs. And if they get offered a better NIL somewhere else, great. But make sure that there's the transfer portal isn't so wild ass. Hell, if they want to be grown men, they want to be salaried players, give them a contract. Put them on contract. We'll see how it all shakes down. It's wild ass West out there now, and God knows we'll never see another person in the UTSA program for sure stay 7 years. All right, we have a Final Four in our midst. Yes, we do. It is time. I've already posted it. It is a very political semifinal today. The Final Four is here. Tomorrow's matchup, we're going to do one matchup today, one matchup tomorrow, and then we'll have the Natty, the national championship. We'll crown a Bagtastic champion next week. All right. So we won't be here Monday because of Jesus' birthday, but on Tuesday I will post the national championship. Who will be the Bagtastic Voyage Champion Challenge champion of 2K23? The first national semifinal is up and running on Twitter, aka X. It's already been posted. So go to my Twitter. It is at Mike Taylor Show on Twitter and vote. All you communist liberal heathens, y'all will love today's matchup. It is the 8-seeded Ted Cruz, the longtime Texas senator, against the 13th seed Ron DeSantis, the longtime governor of the state of Florida. It is Ron versus Teddy ballgame. Ted has cruised in his first two matchups. So has DeSantis. I don't vote in this. Y'all do. I simply manage the tournament. I have a feeling, speaking of UCLA, look at that. Nina bought me this when she went to UCLA this summer on a trip. Anyway, I have a feeling that Thunderdome is going to vote for Ted Cruz. I think it's Ted Cruz's year. He's like the Erica Kane. He's the Susan Lucci of the Bagtastic Challenge. He's been in for 10 years in a row. He's been to the championship before twice and lost. He's been to the Final Four like 6 times. This may be Ted's year. Don't get pissed. I'm sorry, the Republicans will get mad. You're going to see a big drop-off in viewership right now. I don't make the bracket. Thunderdome does. And this is and by the way, this is an 8 seed versus a 13 seed. So not even like Ted was a 1, but I think Ted's think Ted's here to. I think Ted's going to win. All right, this show brought to you in part by Orlando Kell, the official lawyer of Thunderdome and Mike Taylor Live. He can be found at Orlando Kell at orlandokell.law@gmail.com. It's on the screen if you're watching. You can reach him at 210-775-4995. He is our lawyer. If you need a lawyer, and God knows if you live long enough in this world, at some point somewhere, something's going to happen where you need to hire an attorney, whether you are getting sued or whether you get in a car wreck or been arrested or, your old lady pulled a gun on you or you got divorced. They really specialize in family law at the law office of Orlando Kell. If you need a family lawyer, whether you're getting ready to get divorced or you're in the middle of one or you already are and you need a change to your decree, visitation, child support, whatever it might be, Orlando Kell is our guy, the official lawyer of Thunderdome, Orlando Kell. You can reach him at orlandokell@gmail.com. Shireen's in here. Exactly what I thought going into the movie. Talking about the movie, LG. But I didn't think Napoleon was too bad. Also, if I got to a 3-hour movie, make sure I have edibles for it. Eat one 30 minutes before and an hour in. Okay, so she recommends edibles to get through a long movie. I mean,
I don't do those things, but yeah,
well,
I understand. Yeah,
no, you don't. LG does not consume THC in any form.
I definitely don't consume edibles. That's for sure.
Most people, I would say half the city at least has edibles on occasion. A lot of people don't smoke, but they'll take the edibles because it doesn't feel like it's drugs. They'll pop a gummy. I got buddies that run companies that pop edibles just to go to bed at night. They pop one for 30 minutes before they go to sleep. And I'll say this, and I'm not going to argue with Shireen, but if your movie requires me to pop an edible before I watch it, then maybe I don't know to watch it. I don't need to get stoned. I don't want to have to get stoned to enjoy your damn movie. You know what I mean? So, shout out to the.
I'd say it was an all right movie, but if you gotta have expectations going in, and I didn't. I thought it was something that wasn't. So
you thought it was going to be epic like Gladiator?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no,
especially with the director. Yeah,
good to know. All right, I love Bradley Cooper. I have next to no interest in who does he play? The composer, the famous American composer. See, you can't even think of the guy's name. Help me out, Thunderdome. Who's Bradley Cooper?
Maestro?
Playing?
The movie's called Maestro.
Oh, Maestro. Yeah. Oh God, I can't think of the dude's name. Yeah. The old classical composer who was married all of his life. It was banging dudes on the side, and they didn't give a shit. I think it's a big portrayal of that and his marriage to her and how she put up with all his philandering with dudes. And sometimes he felt like a nut, sometimes he didn't. And it's a story of his career and his life. It's supposed to be great, and Bradley may win an Oscar. And I love Bradley Cooper, but I'm going to have a hard time. And I thought, I want Thunderdome. I want somebody else. I want a couple of y'all to go watch that movie Maestro for me. I think it's on Netflix now already. Somebody watch Maestro and let me know how that is. Now that LG's given such a poor review of Napoleon, I no longer have an interest in watching it because I think he's probably, I believe him. Leonard Bernstein. That's who Bradley Cooper plays. Thank you. And I love Bradley Cooper and just about everything he's in. But y'all let me know on this one before I go look at it. The Drew Show, $2. Thank you for your tip, Big Drew. Love Big Drew hard. Oh, did I mention y'all can pay us? We'll take tips. Everybody in the club getting tips. Make sure you subscribe, man. All right. We're working on our hair right now. LG wears a baseball cap every day. It's because he's doing something with his hair because he's growing it out because he's anticipating his Marbach miracle, a.k.a. the Edgar haircut he's going to have to get when we get to 3,000 subscribers. So y'all become a subscriber. If you're watching this thing, you're listening to this thing, subscribe for free. We're about 50-something away from 3,000 or so. When we get to 3,000, I'm going to cut my hair into a mullet for a week. LG's going to roll with the Edgar for an entire week. I told Nina you were going to get the Edgar when we get to 3,000. She goes, watch, he's going to have a girlfriend now. Some chick's going to think he's hot because he's got the Edgar. Watch. What are you going to do if that week you have the Edgar, some smoking hot little Latina who's 30 or 25 wants you to put it on her, and she loves that Edgar. You gonna keep that sumbitch? It's so
No,
funny. I hope you have
absolutely
different.
not.
I hope this comes up. I hope this is a
But
thing.
as soon as I see anybody, I'd be like, it's a bit. It's a bit. It's a bit. Like, that's the first thing I'll say when you see me.
The Drew Show. People on X who put Ted Cruz and DeSantis into the poll didn't have the balls to get through a movie like Gladiator in 2023. They wouldn't be able to make that movie now.
Like people get
I hope
offended or something.
I hope he's wrong, but man, he may not be. God, I hope he's wrong.
Hmm.
I want to pretend that we're not as big of a pussy world as it appears to be in the media. Ruben's in here. Trapped in the car, my son keeps farting every 5 minutes and he's dead asleep. Punch my son. Okay, thank you, Ruben. We're going to punch his son. Not for real, hypothetically. Brian, you need to get that straight flight from Honolulu to Austin on Hawaiian Air. I've done that. But Brian, it's $500 and I got this on Priceline. I flew Filipino Air for $250. Dude, again, when it's just me, I fight. Okay, I fight through it. The Filipinos don't have gongs. Quit being racist, you Asian.
I'm
But
Filipino. I can do that.
I know you can, but y'all don't hit gongs, or do you? Y'all hit gong? Y'all don't hit gongs. Who hits the gong? Chinese people hit gongs.
Oh,
Nobody hits gong. That's all race. That's like 3,000 years ago when they
a bunch of people use gongs. It's a quality instrument.
But why did the Chinese or is it the Japanese start using gongs to? What's up, Big Al? $10. What's up, Big Al?
I have no idea.
That somewhere that goes back to somewhere.
I'm sure it's China.
Is that like before, like a samurai fight in
Sure.
Japan? You sure it's not Japan? Like they hit the gong. That was their version of the NBA buzzer.
Maybe it could be.
Gong.
Maybe it's when they call the sumo fight, they hit the gong.
Yeah. Adrian, maybe you had too much Spam and pineapple, or that passenger had too much Spam and pineapple. There's no question. No doubt your diet changes over there. As soon as Nina picked me up yesterday, I went and had tacos, baby, because I hadn't had tacos since last week.
Dude, the whole airplane is just one giant crop duster. I mean, come on now. Everyone's coming back from somewhere.
Yep.
So they have off diets. They're eating the airplane food.
Their body clock's all fucked up because the time
freaking
changed.
bar. They just came from the bar at the airport. Come on now.
Yeah.
It's just one giant fart up there.
I know, dude. God. According to Bernard, who's probably one of the smartest Thunderdomers we have, the oldest undisputed historical mention of gongs can be found in the 6th century AD in Chinese records. Okay. Well, thanks, BT.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Duh.
Shout out to Bernard and Callie, although he may be home. Are you home this week for Christmas? Where are you at, Bernard? All right, so no, LG's right. These are a bunch of people flying from Hawaii back to the mainland, so their body's all screwed up. It's an overnight.
How many of them went to like some bogus ass like luau at a hotel and were eating all that crap? All that you're smelling.
Yeah, no shit. Golly, God, flying sucks, especially overnight like that. All right, I did have a good week in Hawaii, aside from the diet. No, the diet. No, Hawaiian food's great. I mean, not traditional Hawaiian food, but there's so much great Asian food in Hawaii. But anyway, there is a critter they have out there that I've never had a run-in with one. You see them all the time. And but you see them obviously when you go hiking, like you get off the beaten path. The island of Oahu, where I was, is inundated with the critter, the mongoose. These things are mean, man. And they're everywhere, and they can become a pain in the ass if they get into areas where a lot of tourists are because they want to get fed and shit. And a lot of them will get kind of used to people, but they can be feisty. Those little mongooses, or what do you call more than one mongoose? A mongoose? I don't know, mongooses. I've seen videos of those things like fucking killing cobras and stuff. They can kill snakes. They take down small baby pigs and shit. They're a nuisance. And so me and the twins went hiking up a volcano last week. Up that famous diamond head that overlooks Waikiki. You've seen it, LG. The busted crater. And we went hiking up to the top of that thing. We got down to the bottom, and when you get down to the bottom, it's real foresty. And over the last 10,000 years, inside the crater, it's all forested up now. Where there used to be the big hole. Now it's all a forest down in there. They run wild in the jungles of Hawaii. And so you get down there, and you need a machete to get through there to get to the good part. So we get down there, and we were having a snack, and of course when you bust food out, you run the risk of fucking mongooses showing up because they want your food. They're like the monkeys in Asia, you know. Have you been are there monkeys in like Indonesia when you go back home?
Oh yeah.
Back home when you go back home, those little fucking monkeys everywhere.
Oh yeah, there's a shit ton of what are they called? Macaques.
Macaques. Is that what they make the coffee out of?
No,
That's
those are the luwaks, but they're basically they're mongoose. They're Indonesian mongoose.
Okay, yeah. So we had a little feisty ass Hawaiian mongoose who wanted to get real close to us because we had some food. I thought I was going to have to kill this little motherfucker right here, but then my kid jumps into it and runs this little sumbitch off. So here's this scared Texan in Hawaii being attacked by this little mongoose. Check this out.
Beat it, dude. Nope. Get. No mongooses. Nope. Get. No mongooses. Go back to your home. Get. Go away, mongoose.
There's my kid running his ass
back out at you.
Dude, they look sweet, but they're mean little shitheads, man. They're little mean asses. So there's my mongoose run in. All right, what else today? My boy Drew showed with another. Go ahead.
Don't they keep the snakes away though? Isn't that a good thing?
There are no snakes on Hawaii. There are none.
Yeah, they kill cobras and stuff.
Yeah, they're good for that, but I don't want them getting up. I got two 11-year-olds trying to eat a sandwich.
Yeah,
I don't want. And they have signs out: "Do not feed the mongoose." If you get caught, that's a $500 ticket because that shit that'll just you're asking for mayhem when you start feeding them damn things.
Really,
pigeons is fine. Mongoose, no, those little some bitches are predatorial.
I guess Ricky Tikki Tavi lied to me then.
Ricky Tikki Tavi, yeah, whoever that is, he's the lion ass Filipino.
That was you never seen that?
No,
I guess you were a deprived kid. I forgot. Yeah, you were a deprived child.
What is he petting them?
It's like a childhood story about the mongoose that like saves the family from the snakes.
That's a made up ass fable. Those things are assholes. All right, look at the Drew Show with more money in here. $20 super chat. What's up, Drew Show? Look at you, homie. Now I can get myself something to eat. Punch people who keep saying that the Spurs are tanking. They want us to be the Clippers now. Punch Greg Popovich. We tanked for 5 years, 5 or 16 more. Well, that's Elgin Baylor and Clipper land. The Spurs go bye-bye land. Pop sucks. He's the old man or lady who needs the keys taken away. I can't blame the players. Don't blame the Cadillac when the old guy drives through the wall. It's a Cadillac, but the old man can't drive it anymore. I don't know about that, Drew. See, now I took a shot at now. So I'm not one of these pop butt slurpers. Y'all know that. And we watched the other night and them get their ass handed to them. Oh, who was it? New Orleans. We watched that game the other night in the hellscape. Watched New Orleans hang 140 on their asses. The Bucks hung 132 on them last night. And I have to get my head around the new NBA where 120 is really what everybody's going to score every night. Okay, fine, give up 120, that's cool. But giving up 140, this is the worst defense the Spurs have ever had. And I've said this forever. Coaches always get often blamed too much. Players are in control of winning and losing. But if I can say something about a coach that's critical, and by the way, I don't want Pop fired. I wish he'd consider handing the keys over to somebody else. I do. They can't go in there and fire him. Not now, not at this point. I don't know what the message would be to Wemby, But if you can criticize a coach, it's that he does not know his own personnel, right? Coaches are paid to put their personnel in the best spots to win. Then it's on those players to go out there and execute and win. A lot of times coaches get fired. They didn't do nothing. They put the right guys in the right spot, but the players were shitty. And coaches get fired for no good reason. Coaches are also hired, and especially on the professional level, They manage the locker room. They manage the egos. This is a 74-year-old man with a bunch of 25 and under kids, and I think he does a pretty good job of keeping everybody happy, although we could argue that he coddles the shit out of them too much too. So I think it's fair to wonder whether or not Pop needs to be harder on this thing. I've questioned that earlier in the season. I go back and find one of my old commentaries. Hey, Pop, I want some nasty from you. Another thing that you can criticize a coach on, though, is not knowing his personnel. So far this year, they have decided that Jeremy Sohan sucks at point guard. I like it. Let's stay with that. They decided to play Jeremy Sohan at point guard when we all thought, this kid ain't a point guard. 6 weeks into the season, it turns out he's not a point guard. So now Jeremy's gone back to power forward, swing forward where he belongs, and he ain't played worth the shit in a week and a half because he still hadn't even gotten his sea legs underneath him for the season. They have screwed Jeremy Sohan up. Hopefully he'll get it back, get that groove he had going last year when he had some good looks when he was playing swing forward. So they start off with the wrong point guard. That's on the coach. And now in the last week, have you noticed that except for last night because Wemby didn't play because he had a sore ankle, and they think he's fine. He should be good to go. They play the Bulls tomorrow night. They think he should be good. It's just a little tweaked ankle, a little sore ankle. Might have been the other night when he rolled it and he stayed in the game. I don't know. But they're not worried about him. So they didn't play him last night and Zach Collins started. But the 3 games or whatever before last night when Wemby didn't play in Milwaukee, Zach Collins is no longer a starter. Remember, at the beginning of the season, they told us that Jeremy Sohan has an opportunity to turn into a really good point guard because of his skill set. Okay. Then they told us Zach Collins is going to start with Victor Wembanyama because Zach can do all that dirty work that Jakob Poeltl did and give Wemby space on the floor to do Wemby shit. Okay, cool. That makes sense. We'll see. What's their record? 4-21, 25 games into the season. We're now more than 25% of the way done with a year. 25% of the 25 games into the season, yeah. We've now decided that, well, it turns out Sohan can't play point guard at all. Oh, it turns out that Wemby does not have space with Zach Collins out there to do Wemby shit because now we need Wemby to go play more under the bucket, and so we're going to start Wemby at center and play 4 guards. So we're going to put Zach Collins on the bench. So if you want to criticize Pop, it is fair to say it was wrong to play Sohan at point. That was on him. You never should have started Zach Collins because now he's on the bench. It's just it's all still a piece of clay they're trying to mold. And I'm not defending Pop. I'm trying to be realistic here. You can criticize him for the Sohan and the Zach Collins fail shit. But in his defense, he didn't know what he had. He still doesn't. You want to criticize him for not knowing what he had? Fine. But they are a real young team. They just brought this kid in here from France. They're trying to figure out what best suits him. We said that all summer. This first season is about developing Wemby and figuring out who can play alongside Wemby. 25 games into the year, the coach is 0-2 with 2 of his starters. He was wrong. So now it's on him to fix this shit, Pop. Pop has now fixed
this shit, Rich.
Pop. Collins has gone to the bench. Sohan's no longer a point guard. Now we're going to run Blake Wesley out there, or Malachi Branham out there, and they're insistent that Trey Jones needs to be on the bench and come off the bench. Watch, in a month, Trey Jones will be starting. Another thing to criticize the coach over, which is fair. But in his defense, so the criticism is he didn't know what he had. The defense is he didn't know what he had. They're just running shit out there to see what works. That's what year one Wemby is about, figuring out what fits him the best. What best suits Wemby. And we're 25 games into the season. And the only guy they have on the team, a lot of y'all disagree with this, but the only guy they have on the team that I even think has a long-term future with Wemby at this point, and maybe there's 2 or 3 more that just haven't shown themselves yet, is Devin Vassell because of his unbelievable skills. Devin's been up and down. He has. He had hurt, and he's been a little up and down. I admit that. But Devin is the most skilled guy they have outside of Victor Wembanyama. Devin should be the best player they have, but he's been inconsistent. After that, maybe Sohan has a future here. I don't know that Keldon Johnson has a future here. I think right now Vassell definitely has a future here. That doesn't mean I wouldn't move him to bring somebody else better in, though. But he can stay. And Jeremy Sohan, I think, can stay. Everybody else, I don't give a shit about. They can come, or I can take them or leave them. And so there it is. Is it fair to jump on the coach a little bit? Yeah. But is it unfair to want him fired right now? Yeah. Let his ass figure it out. Let's give this thing. Pop needs the end of the season. He should have quit 2 or 3 years ago. You can make the case, but he didn't, and he's here. And they're 4-21. The season's lost anyway. To hell with it. Let him finish the car. Pop may run into a couple of more cars going home, but at some point, he does need to go. But it's his problem now. They need to fix it. And it starts with Greg Popovich. And then with those players need to get better. Devin Vassell needs to play more consistent and be the star he should be night in and night out. That's what he should be. All right, show brought to you in part by our presenting sponsor, the Great Texas Cheer Liquor. Can you see that? It's my Aggie colored Texas Cheer Liquor shirt on. Come and shake it. Yee. Got 9 locations. So it doesn't matter where you live in the city. There's going to be one near you. And for you boys way out on the far northwest side, pull this up so I don't get this wrong. They got a real cool thing going on today at the OG Texas Cheer and Liquor. The OG is the one way out on Potranco. So you've 1604. There's one right off of 1604 in Potranco, but then there's one way out Potranco, about a good 5 miles. So if you exit Potranco at 1604 and you go 5 miles out. Have you been out there lately, LG? It's turned into its own city out there. There's so many people out there now.
Oh, yeah.
Tons. It's unbelievable. That was nothing but forest when I moved here 16 years ago. Well, that's where the original Texas Cheer Liquor is located, way out on Potranco, 5 miles northwest, I guess, of 1604. They're having a bottle engraving today, this evening, from 5 to 8. What a cool gift to go buy a real badass bottle of like Gentleman Jack or something real cool or something. We'll get you some high dollar shit. Go get you some silver, some silver or something. Or there's some whiskey connoisseurs in this city, and now that I've been doing a lot of stuff at the liquor store, I've learned a lot about booze. Maybe you want to go get yourself some of that badass Blanton's whiskey that's high shelf. And like get an engraving on there to my dad or to my brother or to me, to my Sancho, whatever, to my Sancho. They're doing a bottle engraving. So give the gift of sophistication this year at Texas Cheer Liquor, the original location, 1604 and Potranco, 5 miles up Potranco off 1604. Tonight from 5 to 8 p.m., they're having a bottle engraving. All right, we'll end with some damn Cowboys talk today. And we'll start with my poor kid. So I was with my twins last week. My white kid likes to watch the Cowboys games with me, but he hadn't watched any games all season because I've been here. Well, Daddy was in town this week, so cool. We'll get to watch the Cowboy game with Dad. And it happened to be the 32-10 Buffalo game, or whatever the hell that was, 31-10. Here's my kid after the game with some Taylor analysis.
How come every time we watch the Cowboys, they always lose?
I remanufactured the drop, LG. We lost that drop when I quit the ticket.
Every time we watch the Cowboys, they always lose.
I need to start watching
I
need to start watching like the Washington games with that kid or the Giants. We always watch. Every time we're together, it's a playoff game or Buffalo. I gave my 2 cents on post game show. I mean, the Cowboys still are who they are. They feasted all season, beating the shit out of bad teams. They've been so amazing at home, and they've been great at home. And look, it's one thing to beat bad teams; it's another thing to kick their asses. And the Cowboys have looked terrific when they played shitty teams at home all year. They didn't play San Francisco at home. They didn't play Buffalo at home. They beat the hell out of the Eagles at home. Now, the Eagles can't beat anybody now. They've lost 3 straight. Although the Eagles have had to play San Francisco, Dallas, and Seattle back-to-back. So I'm not stunned the Eagles lost. Watch, the Eagles have the Giants twice and Washington now. The Eagles will probably win out. But the Cowboys are what they have been for years. They're the worst, best team in the NFL, right? If there's 3 or 4, 5 good teams in the league, 6, Dallas is they're the worst, best team. They suck on the road against good teams. That's what you are. And now they got to go to Miami. They get the Lions, at least at Jerry World. So here's a good team in Detroit coming in here in 2 weeks. Prove to me that you are that good at home by actually beating a good team. Then they got to go to Washington, which it wouldn't stun me if they lost to Washington because Riverboat Ron's going to get fired. Washington doesn't give a shit. And they'd love nothing more than to beat the Cowboys. And it's a road game for Dallas. And we all know they struggle on the road. They're 3-4 now on the road. And they got to go to frickin' Miami, who just beat somebody. They beat the Jets 30-0 with that cocky coach that I love, Mike McDaniel, without Tyreek Hill, who didn't play in the game, and they beat the Jets 30-0. This is from HBO. Hard Knocks, in-season Hard Knocks is Miami. This is my little young-ass looking 160-pound Mike McDaniel, the coach of the Dolphins here, with his high-rise sweatpants on, looking like he snuck onto the field, all cocky, predicting a one-play scoring drive Sunday. Look at this.
I'm really visualizing a one-play drive here. I'm having a tough time not visualizing a one-play drive here. We get kick coverage. Waddle's going to have a one-play drive here. Yeah. Here it comes.
Ready, 10. Dolphins begin at their own 40. Going deep. Right there. What a perfect pass and play. And the touchdown to Jalen Waddle. 60 yards and a touchdown.
Take a look at this route. Inside, nope, and he gets him. That was a big arm throw right there.
Talk to me.
All right, that's so goddamn impressive. I love that kid, and I call him a kid. He's how old is McDaniel now? I think he may be 40 now. He just looks so young. He's been in the league for a while as an assistant, and man. So this is a hell of a setup here. I feel better about the Cowboys' chances because they just got their ass kicked. Had Dallas gone to Buffalo and won, I think that the turd may get laid in Miami. But the Cowboys now are a little bit desperate. They just got your ass kicked. Your pride's been messed with. Everybody's saying, same old Cowboys in December. They suck on the road. I think Dallas is going to play harder, or at least better. They can't play any worse, honestly. Cowboys have a better chance to win this game at Miami because they just got their ass kicked by Buffalo. Not that I don't think I'm going to pick Cowboys to win the game. I think Miami wins. I don't think the Cowboys can stop Miami at all, and Tyreek Hill's probably going to get back. All right, Drew says my kid looks like a young Thor. Need a haircut. My hair's getting floppy. All right, so that's it. There's some video from the hellscape. We're done. That's it. We've been on the air long enough. That's it. All right, y'all go vote if you haven't voted on Twitter yet. Cruz versus DeSantis. So you're thinking ahead. Tomorrow is James Harden versus Jackson Mahomes, Patrick's brother, and James Harden. That's the other matchup tomorrow. Then we'll do the championship next week. That's it. We're done. Thank you to Texas Cheer Liquor. Thank you to the law office of Orlando Kell. Thank you to DJ LG. Good to be home. Love you hard. See you mañana, 10 a.m.
Come back, you puppy!
Mike Taylor Live is presented by Texas Cheer Liquor.
This program was made possible by contributions from viewers and listeners like you. Thank you.
Steve, right?
This is a cross-bound 6 local train. The next stop